insight. And correct me, by the way.
I'll give you concise but perfect answers.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all. This is Brace for Impact, the podcast where business leaders tell the real story behind success, the ups and downs, and the things not everyone gets to see. I'm your host, Skip Maloney, and I will give you access into the minds of leaders from various industries, big, small, startups, large institutions, small institutions, household names, and names you don't know yet. Before I introduce today's guest, Danica, do you want to say a few words about today's sponsor?
This episode is brought to you by MyScout, staffing companies. Would you like to increase your lead flow, improve sales efficiency, achieve consistent growth, and build better relationships and close deals? MyScout will give you an edge over your competition. At MyScout, we understand the unique challenges staffing companies face in today's competitive landscape. Founded by staffing experts, we're more than just a lead generation service. We're your dedicated partner in achieving sustainable growth by connecting you with high-potential clients. Check us out at myscoutleads.com or by dialing 484-995-4800. That's 484-995-4800. Stop chasing, start connecting. myscoutleads.com.
All right. Ready to go? All right. I'm getting
Yes,
thumbs
sir.
up. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to be reading some from a script here a little bit, Doctor, because you have quite a background. And if I went over every single thing, we wouldn't have time for you to even answer a question. So I absolutely could not be more thrilled to have you on as a guest. And full disclosure, my beautiful daughter, Grace, is a business major at HPU, graduating this spring, which is how I became aware of High Point University. And
She's much better looking than you.
Believe me, I know. Thank God. Yeah, listen, I consider you to be obviously the president of HPU, but you are the chief architect of the university. I've done a lot of work studying your school and other businesses. And in the business world, I think HBU could probably be described as a turnaround from back in the day. And I remember, you probably don't remember this, but I remember when my daughter was entering her freshman year, I said to you, look, the success of this university, from my estimation, is due to your work. And I understand you're going to give credit to other people, and I appreciate that. And I said, are you going to be here in 4 years? She was, and you said to me, I promise you I'm going to be giving her diploma, because I just was absolutely blown away by the not just the campus, but everything it had to offer. But anyway, listen, I'd love to start off. You've got a very interesting background. You're Lebanese by birth. You came to this country with, I believe, $50 in your pocket. I think you knew 2 English words.
No, I knew more than I knew more than you.
All right. But very limited. And, today, you are one of the premier speakers, authors, educators, and I think business leaders in this country. And you, in my mind, are probably the ultimate American success story. So I wanted to start off, before we get into HPU and some of the other business ventures, I wanted you to talk a little bit about your upbringing and what drove you to come to this country and some of the challenges you had.
Well, I mean, look, my father died when I was 6 years of age. My mother brought us up. My mother had 4th grade education, so it was very limited in terms of her understanding, but she had the wisdom of all times. And she sent me here on a one-way ticket on borrowed money, by the way. She borrowed the money to send me here. And she wanted to have a good education in the West. The West was known for free enterprise and capitalism. And I got here, I was lonely, I was broke, I couldn't understand what people were saying, and I struggled through college. I had to work my way through school, undergrad and grad. But look, what's great about America is if you have a vision and you're willing to put together a solid strategy and you're willing to work hard enough, you can make something of your life. It's as simple as that. And I'm proof positive, that the Wall Street Journal just did a story about us here, front page story, and and another one this morning talked about how at High Point some universities are focused on accessibility. We're focused on aspiration. Of course, Of course, accuse me of that all day long. I want every single one of our students to aspire to be successful in life. They have a duty to be successful in life, however you define success. So my mother wanted me to be successful, and I wanted to be successful, and I was willing to do whatever it is ethically and legally to get there. But nothing is easy. However, I thank God every day for my adversity, because my adversity made me stronger and made me deal with risk management better and made me, find solutions to problems that other people can just moan about and whine about. So, for me, yeah, it's hard. But look, man, it's hard what I did at Hyper University the last 2 decades. It's not a walk in the park, you can't build an organization by just working 2 hours a day. You got to give it everything you've got, spiritually, mentally, physically, socially. You got to give it all you have. If the dream is worth achieving, it is worth investing in it, all the resources that you can muster.
Yeah, I very well said. Of course, I'm going to botch who said it, but one of my favorite quotes of all time is, adversity doesn't build character, it reveals it. And I just look at the work that you and the school produces. And by the way, you've got a great staff. I've talked to many of the deans of your schools, the business school in particular, and the fostering of the young minds. That's very important to me, not just because my daughters, are in college, but I'm an employer as well. And the students I get from a lot of schools are missing that life skills portion of their education, and you guys focus in on that. How did you know? What tapped you into that and saying this is probably an area that is underserved in the world?
Well, first of all, I was in business for 30 years, 33 years, right? So I came out of graduate school, never worked for anybody, started my first business with all the money I had in the world, $500. And I had to teach at a community college at night to make $15 a night to buy groceries. And so I acknowledge and I understood that to succeed in life, you have to understand how life works. And life is comprised and composed of people. And you have to develop the strategies and the skills that can propel you forward. And colleges don't teach that. Colleges mostly teach the content. And what we try to do at Hypon is take this content. Content is important. If you want to be, a biologist, you better know biology. If you want to be engineering, you better know engineering. But that's content. You have to place that content in context of the life you live in context with the people you work with, in context with the geopolitical situation, in context with the environment in which you reside, and so on. And so, because I had lots of employees and I owned a number of businesses, I had both the kind of employee who had the knack for getting things done on time, getting things done well. And I saw people who just lacked the basic savvy, the basic street smarts about life and living. And when I came to High Point, that's the only thing I knew. What I knew is that you got to be smart, not just up here, but you got to be smart about, your comings and your goings. And I said, how do we do that? And frankly, my friend, I found it to be a fertile land, low-lying fruit. Yeah. And the reason that most colleges can't teach that or won't teach that is because most of your faculty come from a rich academic background. They are experts in their content, in their field. But perhaps many of them have not run a business, have not hired people, have not, so I had this frame of reference that said, to succeed in an ever-changing world, you better have a lot more than just, the knowledge. Look, if all you have is information, people will use you and discard you. If all you have is knowledge, people call upon you only when they need you. But if what you have is wisdom, people respect you. Yeah. So how do you grow in wisdom? By being a person of value, by bringing value to every relationship that you have, by making sure that it's appreciated value. How do you know if the value you're bringing is appreciated? When it overcomes people's fears, helps them meet their needs, achieve their goals, fulfill their aspirations, you're onto something. People want to latch onto you. I mean, at Hype University, we had 22,000 applications last year for a class of 1,500. We ended up with 1,670 freshmen. We grew by 9.4% in the freshman class when all the schools around us here have lost 7 and 8 and 10 and 12%. The reason is simple to me. We focus on values, God, family, country. Second, we focus on life skills. Yes, you better know biology if you want to be a biologist. Yes, your daughter better be very familiar with business fundamentals if she wants to be in the business world. But that's not enough. If you're not coachable, if you don't have emotional intelligence, if you don't know how to manage risk, if you don't know the difference between time management and energy management, if you don't know the difference between problem solving and solution finding, that's the little bit of something, that's the cherry on top of the pie. And it's those little things, nuances, call them if you wish, but those little things are going to give you the edge. And so at High Point, of course, we focus on the academic part. Of course, we hire stellar faculty. Of course, we deliver on that. But that's not enough. That's the Mona Lisa. But the Mona Lisa in the Louvre, if you don't put it in the right strategic location and light it well, people will knock you up to see it if you just throw it in the corner. Look, if you take a diamond and throw it up in a little McDonald's bag and throw it on the table there on the floor, nobody will ever open up the bag to see what's in it. But if you take a diamond and put it in a velvet box, everybody looks at it. So it's the context, it's the environment, it's the atmospheric that goes with it. You and I are the product of the environment in which we choose to reside. You and I are the product of the people we hang around with. You and I are the product of the thoughts that we have, the beliefs that we possess. And so we have to teach that in college. How do you teach it? You model it, which is why we can't get anybody who can do a story about us here to capture High Point University. They always deal with, what I call the Mickey Mouse stuff, just little stuff. They can't capture the essence because that's not in their frame of reference, But I understand the essence. And parents like you get it. They get the essence of what we do and appreciate it and send their first, second, and third kids here.
Yeah, I'll tell you, my daughter was all but attending University of Alabama, and we said on the way back, let's stop at HPU. And it was all over for her. She says, now, Dad, I got to come here. And it wasn't, listen, you've got a gorgeous campus. We all know that. But it was more than that. I think she felt going to HBU, she was going to be seen and heard. Whereas, you look at University of Alabama, great school, but it's big. And I wanted her to understand what it was like to have an edge, to go to a business meeting and how to interact. And she can be introverted and pull her strengths out. And anyway, you guys have done a great job. I do want to talk to you real quickly about you have a book out called Extraordinary Transformation, Entrepreneurial Blueprint for Leaders. I want you to talk a little bit about that. That's keenly interesting to me because I deal with my business is a lot of transformation. We're going through a massive AI transformation in the world. How is HBU prepping the students for this? It's not coming; it's here. AI is here. How are you prepping your students for that?
Yeah, slowly but surely, and hopefully slowly but cumulatively. It is a new thing for academia. What we're doing here is we're investing a lot of resources in it, both time, energy, and money. So we're bringing experts. For example, we just had our leadership retreat. All the deans, all the VPs. We go to an offsite. We spend 3-4 days. We work all day. We dine together at night. We build fellowship and so on. And I bring in all kinds of speakers and experts. So we had an expert on AI. What is it? How to use it? And so on. We bring seminars for our professors. So all of our professors go through these seminars because before you can really use it and teach it, you have to understand it. You have to be familiar with it. So we have a repetitive process now of bringing these experts in so that our people can listen, view, and begin to understand what that is. Second, we try to implement it in the classroom. So we have a full-time center here with a leader in charge of bringing data, resources, training, comprehensive material to all of the professors so they can understand inside the classroom. How do you talk about it? How you bring it? How to bring it to surface? Having said that, I don't know of a single school out there that's doing a great job at that because AI is coming at you so fast that which parts of it and what do you understand and so on. I mean, just this morning I heard where Amazon is laying off 30,000 people because they're using AI systems to create more efficiency and cut costs. So none of us really understands fully. And my view is this, that when you don't understand something fully, at the very minimum, become familiar with it. Familiarize yourself with the genre. Generally, what is it? What does it do? And so on. So it becomes akin to your way of thinking a little bit. So it's not something you're running away from or afraid of. By the way, students are amazing. You know, sometimes they're ahead of the rest of us here. They know this stuff. They know how to access all that stuff. Way before I knew what Chat GPT is, our students know all about it.
Yeah.
So they are fertile ground for learning and adapting very quickly. But we are making concerted effort, my friend. It's faster and deeper and more vertical than university can adopt and adapt and apply very quickly. It is a slower process, but it's not different. You know, when the internet came along, we had the same kind of challenges, right?
I'm
But
old
in the
enough
end,
to remember that.
yeah, but in the end, we knew how to deal with it, and it became familiar with it, just like you and I are doing right now. You know, you would have never guessed in 100 years that you and I could be talking like this on a computer screen.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's interesting though. I think you make a great point. I think the first thing to happen when new technology arises is fear, right? The internet, there was fear. And right now there's unprecedented fear that AI is going to replace everyone's job. And the best counter measure to fear is knowledge and to learn as much as you can about something. So I get blown away by the young people because I think I have fear or I had fear about it. And when I talk to my daughters, or I talk to younger people, they're like, yeah, no, I got it. I know it. And they're so far advanced that where I am, and I'm saying, well, it's because I'm coming from a place of fear because I'm not completely grasping it. They don't have
Well,
that.
they grew up in the age of technology. You know, I did not grow up in the age of technology, so I do math very differently than students do math. I can do a lot of math in my head, you know, but this generation has had all the advantages and all of the conveniences of technology.
Yeah. Well, I think your book would be very interesting for a lot of business leaders. I'm in the business of helping develop leaders to be stronger leaders and to anticipate what we call VUCA, right? And that volatile, uncertain world, and how do you make the proper pivots? And I think what's important for the world today, it's not teaching people what to think, it's how to think. When you're in these situations, there's new technology, there's new anything coming about. How do you prepare yourself? You rely on your values, you rely on the things that you were taught, but there's going to be challenges that come your way that you're not used to. And if you have a methodology, you're going to be fine. So thank you for that. And by the way, you've got some great guest lectures, great professors coming in. And Wozniak has been there for years. Dean Cain has been there for years. You've got and I apologize, I'm dropping his name, but the founder of Kind Bars. I mean, you've just got some amazing business
Yeah,
leaders.
Daniel Levitsky is a great guy. Well,
Thank you.
I'm attracted to people who create an idea,
Yeah.
people who believe in the art of the possible, people who systemically, using practical systems, energize the idea with their intellect and with their energy. And then they're not afraid. It's okay. If you fail, it's not the end of the world. There's a difference between productive failures and non-productive successes. So people like that, you know, turn me on. I've always been attracted to people who know how to do that. You know, Daniel Levitsky, the founder of Kind, I mean, he just created a little business for snacks, and then he sold 40% of it for $2.4 billion. It's remarkable. Steve Wozniak started out, you know, a little garage making a little Apple One. And you know, Steve Jobs was the marketing guy, but Wozniak really was the intellectual brain, the technological brain. You think about people like Mark Randolph, the co-founder of Netflix, and you study their life. And I want my students to hear what these people have to say. Mark will talk about how when they were selling DVDs by mail, and they botched it all up, but they didn't give up. They kept at it. They kept doing stuff. And so we bring all these people here, and by the way, in every discipline, whether it's sports, whether it's media, whether it's business, whether it's whatever, because I want our students to be exposed to the academic brain, but I also want them to be exposed to the pragmatic guy out in the arena doing it every day.
That's right.
And those people can teach you a lot. And I think that's the advantage I had, is that I did it for 33 years. And when I came here, I kind of understood what businesses require of people. And our experiment worked. But like everything else, we were criticized. As I told you earlier, even the Wall Street Journal guy, didn't capture the essence of High Point. Now I've gotten 1,000 letters telling me, "Congratulations, it's great." Great. But for us, we say, didn't capture the essence of who we are. I wish he captured really the
I didn't think it
foundation.
did either. I didn't think it did. I was very proud of that. Knowing, my daughter goes there, and I want to try to evangelize the school. But I also hear, the criticism, and I want to hear what you think about this. Is people say, "Oh, well, it's the country club of the South," and that's a lazy sort of retort for folks that have never set foot on the campus, because they get completely blown away by the amenities that you offer. But there was someone in the article that said, this is all great, but you have to do something with it. I mean, you could go to the best looking school in the world. If you don't take advantage of the amenities that are around you and the services, you're going to blow it.
And amenities. I know they use the word amenities. Amenities is probably the wrong word.
Yeah,
I said in the article, we don't. I don't think we don't have any amenities. I don't know what amenity to me is. The mint you put it next to someone's bed at night. Amenity is the turning down the bed. In a nice restaurant at night. To me, we don't do amenities here. What we're doing is we're not pampering our students. We're preparing them. And so, if going to a restaurant where you learn how to protocol, but more importantly, how to interview with a business person who sits across from you and interviews over a meal, if that's called an amenity, then golly, I don't know. I call that a laboratory. I call that a practical, pragmatic application of the knowledge that you possess. But you're right. People do think of High Point as this gorgeous. It is a gorgeous campus. I mean, we just finished the law school and dental school. There's nothing like them. They're gorgeous. But that alone does not produce the results that are desired. What produces the results resides in the soul, in the heart, in the mind of the student. And I'm a believer that you cannot lecture young people. You have to model behaviors for them. So I do believe that when you walk across the beautiful campus, when your dorm is clean and nice, when you eat in a variety of restaurants instead of eating in the same cafeteria like I did 3 meals a day and hated it, something happens to you. Your spirit is uplifted. You learn how to deal with different situations, with different people in different circumstances. And it isn't spoiling them. It's merely preparing them for, we say higher learning, higher living. But what I mean by that is that I watched my mom struggle to bring us up, 5 of us. I did not want to struggle like that. I watched us being poor. I did not want to be poor anymore. I watched people struggle through life and become old and have no resources to manage their senior years when they deserved respect and appreciation. And I say, why are we like that? No. We ought to prepare correctly by being around the right people in the right circumstances. Now, when someone says, looks like a country club, I say thank you. I mean, if a country club means it's neat, clean, and beautiful, I'll take it. Someone says it's Disney World, I go, I don't know how it compares to Disney World unless you're talking about innovation and ingenuity. But the last time I looked, we don't have any rides here. We don't have any shows here.
Yeah.
It's an academic institution. People don't know how to categorize High Point because in many ways, High Point is sort of a category of one. We did not try to emulate another school. We said, how can we create the best learning environment for people who want to make something of their life? And I say at every open house, if you don't want to succeed in life, please don't come here. Please don't come here. Don't come and mess up our school. I'm looking for students who want to succeed in life. But then I define success by saying, a 4th grade teacher who goes to school 4, 5, 6 years, he or she knows they're going to be overworked and underpaid. You can't say to them they're not successful. You can't say the CEO of a major company is successful, but this teacher is not successful. Because if that's what you want to do in life, God bless you. Happiness comes from purpose. And your purpose can only be defined by you. Now, hopefully you're exposed to learned understanding, but by you. So someone who wants to be a teacher is great. An entrepreneur might define success by having a lot of money. Ted Turner, who founded CNN, defines success by building a media empire. Hank Aaron defines success by beating the record of Babe Ruth. Albert Einstein defines success by unraveling the secrets of the universe. But Mother Teresa defines success by feeding the hungry and clothing the poor in the back alleys of Calcutta. I don't know how to define success for another person. I just do know that when you have purpose in your life, you will find happiness in your life. It's never the other way around. It's not if I have money, I'll have happiness. If I have fame, I'll have happiness. That's wrong teaching. If of the inside of you, you feel like you're a person of value, you're a person focused on purpose, that gives you a sense of significance, which transcends success by material terminology any day of the week. Now, I'm not against people who want to make a lot of money. I'm not against people who buy, nice cars and live in nice homes. God bless them. That's fine. All I'm really saying is that alone doesn't do it. And so in this campus, we want to make sure that every student grows with values, albeit we never have crusades aimed at them. We never lecture them. We just live in an environment that does that. I can't tell your daughter, remember to say please and thank you every day. But if she hears it every day from other people, she'll start saying please and thank you. And so those are life skills that are simple, but these nuances make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, well said. Well, listen, we're wrapping up on time, and I want to thank you again.
I'm okay. If you have other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah. Well, first, I would love to know. I've been sort of your agent on the side here, talking to a lot of my colleagues and friends in the business world. How do people get a hold of you? Because you do some amazing speaking gigs for corporations. How do people reach out to you?
Yeah, it's very simple. It's my email address is Qubein, N as in Nido, Qubein, 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 Qubein at highpoint.edu. I used to do about 150 presentations a year all over the world. People buy tickets, come hear me in all these big civic centers. And I've done it all over the world. Now I'm very selective, but I do accept engagements. I just did Walmart International. Let me tell you about this. I just spoke at Walmart International. That's 120 people who run all the Walmart businesses in 19 countries. So these are the elite, executive team. And by the way, Walmart has $670 billion in revenue annually. Yeah. I never really knew that. That's astronomical. And I talked to them I said to them, change is inevitable, but transformation is optional. In other words, don't fight change. Change will find you and it will force itself upon you. But whether you choose to transform yourself in the middle of that ocean of change is up to you. Yeah. Some people rise up, show up, and shape up to become greater than what they were. And some people just completely are oblivious to all the opportunities around them. They don't transform themselves. What we did here is we transformed the university, right? From High Point is 100 years old, but the last 20 years is completely transformed. From a tiny school of 90 acres landlocked to 600 acres, from 3 academic schools to 14, from 1,400 students to almost 7,000. On and on the story goes, right? And I said the key to the success of any business in a cluttered world is distinction, to be distinctive. How can a person be distinctive? You answer this question. How easily can someone else imitate what I can do? You see, if it's really easy for people to imitate what I can do, then my value decreases by definition.
Sure.
If it's hard for them to imitate what I can do, then my value rises by definition, all things being equal. Or a better question is, how easily can someone else imitate who you are? Oh my, assuming you have the qualities about you that are the qualities of a champion, if I can't imitate you in that way, wow, That means you're really going places and you're going to make things happen. Everything else follows. Fame and fortune and fans, all of that follows. Those should never be the primary goal. Those are the frame around the gold mine, which is you, your mind, your heart, your soul. And so, it's all about distinction. At Hyper University, what I attempted to do is guide a group of intelligent people to become distinctive. And then we did it in every way. And so somebody says, well, they actually have a cross section of an airplane where students can sit and learn how to speak to someone next to them. Someone can see that as trivial, but a really thoughtful individual sees that as brilliant. They go, wow. So they're actually, as an aside, you don't get credit for that. This is not a primary requirement, prerequisite for graduation. This is one of many little things we have all over the place that models for you the preparation for a life well lived and a life that's successful. And I make no apologies. I think when you sit next to someone on an airplane, don't be a dummy and don't be a pest. You have to know how to talk with them. So for me, distinction is about coming up with meaningful, beneficial, useful ways to help graduate the individual to a higher standard of comprehension and therefore a higher standard of performance. I'm doing the national convention for Chick-fil-A, for example. It's the third time I speak to them. This is not the store managers. These are all their executives. I do a bunch of bank events and so on. But the message is the same, right? I spoke 8,000 times. The message may have different words and all that. But at the end, it's not that complicated. At the end, it's, what are you bringing to the table? How am I going to become better because I know you? How will my family, my business, my life become enhanced because I do business with you? It's that simple. And if we really deliver that, Hyper University is an example of that. You, sir, pay more money to send your daughter here than you could be sending it somewhere close to you, for example. Why do you do that? You so and appreciate value, and you see the transformation of this wonderful woman, and we're willing to pay for that which gives us a higher standard of benefit. We're just willing to do it. We do it all the time. Restaurants we go to, the cars we buy, the cruise ships we go on, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't think about those things. What I think about is every student entering the hallways and entrusted to us by their parents must grow in spirit, in mind, and in vision. What I am going to do with my life. And when you least expect it, they become amazing individuals, amazing citizens. I get tons of emails from alumni who say, I sat in your class, because as you know, I teach all the freshmen here. I sat in your class and you said some amazing things, but I never really knew the exact value of those until I was in business 5-6 years. And I thought, how do I know this stuff? How do I know how to think? And I took it back to something you said in that class. And so for me, my friend, it's a mission. It's a calling. It's not a job. It's not a career. It is the difference between legacy and impact. Legacy is what people know about you. Impact is what people become because they crossed your path. And there is no higher calling than that.
Well, I'm stealing that quote. As you know, my podcast is Brace for Impact. And I guess my last question for you, sir, who inspired you? You were a rock star on that campus. I see you in the campus, and people talk, and they surround you. I can't even get close to you. But someone had to have inspired you. Who was that?
My mother. My mother was
She
the
definitely
greatest.
inspired your dress, by the way. You were an impeccable dresser, and I know that you
Thank you,
are a
sir.
son of a seamstress.
Thank you. But my mother inspired me to believe that I am enough. That when God breathed in my nostrils, He intended for me to be extraordinary. That I have to seek the pathway to be an extraordinary person. That's why we say our calling here is choose to be extraordinary. Choose. It's a choice. Your choices determine where you end up. It's not your circumstances, that determine where you end up. It's your choices. How you change is how you succeed. who you spend time with is who you become. That's what my mother used to say to me. And so I believed her. I just believed her. Somehow it was embedded in me. And out of graduate school, I started a business I knew nothing about. It was a direct mail business. And I had ups and downs, and out of it came all kinds of other, and started making money, and I started buying companies and putting my money in investments and so on. So I think, yes, everybody's surprised on campus that if I walk across campus, students want to talk to you, want to take pictures with you, et cetera, et cetera. And, people use language like, oh, you're a celebrity, you're this, you're that. You know what? A 17, 18, 19-year-old are very, very discerning. Believe it or not. They know authenticity any day of the week. And authenticity above charisma any day of the week. That's what's important. Yeah. So the reason they're like that with me is because I'm kind to them. I'm encouraging to them. I meet with them. I teach them. They can tell that I deeply care about their well-being and so on. That's why I only have one email address. I don't have president at High Point. I have Qubein at High Point. I get 200-300 emails a day. I answer them very briefly, but I answer every one of them. And students write me back and thank me, and parents thank me. They say, it's amazing that you would do that. You would answer. Sure, that's the least I should do. If you don't love the people you work with and you seek to lead, you need to do something different because it's all about people. Every business has the 3 Ps, the person, the process, and the product. The product and the process are important, but what drives those two are people. So, in all of our chasing in this world, we ought to chase the capacity to become more connected with people. Yeah. And that means understand them and seek to give first. William Barclay said, always give without remembering, always receive without forgetting. And I really believe in that. I believe in giving first, and then the rest of the world sort of takes care of itself.
Yeah, that's well said. Well, listen, I couldn't be more happy that you agreed to jump on here. I'm hoping the rest of the Wall Street Journal article, is out, but I personally wanted people to get to know you and get to know your university. As a businessman myself, you've got a lot of knowledge to impart to folks, and I just think you do it with a lot of value and a lot of character, and I thank you so much. I have trusted you with my daughter and to help mold her into being a business leader herself someday, and I want to thank you for that as well personally, but love to have you back on sometime, but for all my leaders listening, please take a look. How many books do you have out there? It's over 2 dozen. Is it 2 dozen?
I've written about 16 books, but the latest one is the one you referred to, Extraordinary Transformation, which is a business book, and about a leadership book about how we built High Point University. It's not intended for other academics. It's intended for business people who want to understand the principles and the ideas that I use to kind of build this phenomenal place we call High Point University.
Yeah, it's no pun intended. The transformation word is in the title, but it's transformational for me. It's something that I rely on too with my teams as well. So, thank you, sir, for that. And with that, I want to thank My Scout for our sponsor today. And thank you so much again, Dr. Qubein, and we will see you further down the road.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day and a great season of Thanksgiving and all of the good stuff that comes with it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.